everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Now that my 2 informative videos are done for the day, it's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. And today we're going to discuss Jeremy Buendia, who I've had a couple topics about him I needed to cover in the last year. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skilled up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. For those who are unaware, Jeremy Buendia is a 4-time, I guess, men's physique Olympia. Is that what they call it? Is that what they call that category? I don't know. I can't keep up with all this bodybuilding stuff. But what I kind of criticized him on before was being weak for his size. And now it wouldn't be a big deal other than he's demonstrating it and his fans were talking about how strong he is. And then, of course, after I had covered that, previously he got hurt. He tore a pec. So, yeah, I'm going to give him a hard time with what I just saw. Some people told me about it, and I went and checked it out a bit ago. Because this is a learning experience. This is stuff a lot of people out there need to learn about. And that's about learning how to train correctly. When you are going to train for strength and do heavy lifts, learning how to assess how much you can lift correctly and not doing stupid stuff like missing gym lifts. Because if you're missing gym lifts with wraps on, you're going to get hurt. You are going to get hurt, which he's already been hurt and had to have a surgery. No surprise here. Number 2, it's going to destroy your recovery. Getting pinned under squats is not how you get bigger or stronger. It's not. Not how it works, guys. Successfully lifting heavy weights with good technique. It's how you get stronger. All right. Using bad technique is sometimes permissible in competition to hit a lift you've never been able to hit before, but you don't want to train that way. You certainly don't want to train that way. And what did I see on this? Well, let's just be honest here. We've seen that he can't deadlift 500 without hitching in straps, right? So we know his squat's nowhere near 500. Now, granted, he threw on wraps, and that's kind of the point. Why would you use wraps if you don't compete in powerlifting in a class that uses wraps? Wraps are bad for your knees. They help you cheat. You're going to have less quad development if you squat with wraps. All right, you are going to have less development as a result of it. So why guys who are bodybuilding are going to go squat with wraps on when they usually have really well-developed quads? They actually would probably do better if, as far as a weight class goes, if they were to squat without them, if they were to go jump over to powerlifting. And people need to remember that stuff because wraps de-emphasize your quads. They let you lift more weights because they take and assist the role that the quads would play, so therefore it makes your hips and back and everything slightly more important. This guy has massive quads, so it's just silly for him to be doing that anyways, since they hurt you. Knee wraps injure you over time. Yeah, they let you lift more weight, but they damage your knees. So anytime you hear a powerlifter talk about how their knees are destroyed from powerlifting, I can assure you it's guys who are training with knee wraps and competing in knee wraps. It's not from doing a normal squat. Normal squats done correctly are perfectly safe on the knees and very rarely cause knee issues, even with enormous weights being used. But the thing is, he's got wraps on, and here's the thing. So we know wraps are going to give him at least 50 pounds on his squat. So, you know, we would have to assume he could squat at least 450, somewhere in the 450 range to hit a 495 squat. Well, he couldn't deadlift 500. You guys see where I'm going with this? Realistically, the guy should have probably attempted a lighter weight before he jumped up to 495. Because he didn't miss it by just like 5 pounds. It wasn't one of those lifts where you look at it and go, man, if he'd have had just 5 or 10 pounds less on that bar, he would have made it. No, he would have missed it. He would have missed it with 10 pounds less. And he endangered himself, endangered his spotter. Because here's the thing. When he went down, it was very obvious that he couldn't squat it. It was very obvious watching him on the way down. Because he was trying to control it and fight against it, and he was struggling on the eccentric. Now, if he had just dive bombed it and popped out of the hole, it would have been different as far as not controlling it. But when you try to control it and you can't, it's a problem. And he didn't even reach depth. And I'm saying that even looking from the back as someone who is a certified meat judge who has judged international meats, he stopped almost a full dick length short of reaching parallel before he reversed it. And he lost all his power immediately out of the hole. Even with knee wraps, he only came up about 4 or 5 inches out of the bottom, which wasn't quite the bottom, before he stopped. In other words, even with the knee wraps to slingshot him out of the bottom, he wasn't even close. he probably should have been closer to about 450 with wraps on, which means he's maybe a 400 raw squatter, maybe assuming he can reach depth. Which is nothing terrible. That's decent. It's not horrible. But to carry the amount of size he has, and here's the thing. I'm going to get to that in a minute, too, of why that's a problem. If guys need to understand what happens when you build all your size purely with drugs instead of proper training, you end up not being as strong as you should be. All right? Lesson learned. Lesson learned. You have to train correctly to get really strong, even on drugs. And a lot of people don't understand that. And this is an example of a guy who uses a lot of tren and a lot of other stuff that builds an enormous amount of muscle that does build some strength, but it doesn't build in proportion. You don't learn how to train correctly. You don't have strength that's relative to your size. And I mean, perfect example. You guys have seen me squat more than him. I'm in the same weight class. He would be in the same weight class as me in powerlifting. You guys have seen my old ass squat more weight than he had on the bar and failed without wraps. Have you not? Right? Similar body weights, but him with leaner, more muscle and less fat. I mean, realistically, if we're pretty similar body weights and he's a lot leaner than me, he obviously has more muscle than me. We understand how training works. If you actually train for strength, usually the guy with more muscle is stronger. 9 out of 10 times. So again, the guy's never trained properly for strength, and now he's trying to do displays of strength. And that's the thing. A lot of kids are going to go, and I saw it in the comments on his Instagram, hey man, that was at least you tried. You gave it your best effort. It's a gym lift, guys. You don't come in and give it your best effort. You lift it. And you gradually build up. If you're trying to truly get strong, you don't just jump in the gym and try to lift a weight that's nowhere near what you can lift. It's 20 or 30 pounds more than you could get on your best day. Because that's kind of the point. I go so far as to say, with what I saw, I don't think he could have hit 20 pounds lighter either. Had he stripped 20 pounds off that bar, watching his eccentric alone and his inability to hit depth and have no power out of the bottom, I think 20 pounds would have stapled him to the floor also. Another 20 pounds less. So this isn't someone who just came in and built up and said, okay, I'm going to build up to 405, built to 425. And if that's feeling light, meaning he'll go ahead and make jumps, but he didn't do it like that. He probably made enormous jumps, attempted a weight he could not handle, and just jumped in and did it. That's not how you train. That's not how you gain strength, and that's not how you gain muscle. That's not how you train. It was done as a show-off. And I'm well and good with people displaying their failures. We've all put our own missed lifts up, but they're real attempts. Real attempts, not something that's 50 pounds heavier than you've ever lifted in your life to just come in and do it on camera. Again, this is why this guy has torn a pec. Using bad technique to handle weights that he's not strong enough to handle correctly. Using drugs and not training to build his strength base. It's how you get hurt. Displaying bad habits for your followers is how they get hurt. Because a lot of young men look up to this guy because of his physique. And they see him doing silly stuff like this. They're going to go attempt this silly stuff. Then they get hurt. When you are assessing how much weight you need to lift, you go up gradually. It's baby steps, guys. Micro-loading. Micro-plates. I own micro-plates. I have them for a reason. Because you do need to micro-load your efforts on your PRs. You do need to micro-load your really heavy days. It's totally acceptable to add only 1 pound to a training max. You know what? That's acceptable. That's also how you stay in the game. That's how you get to my age without having everything snapped up and ripped up and needing wraps on every single joint when you train and having arthritis and tendonitis and all these other problems and these injuries. That's how you get to my age, still have your strength and not have all these problems. Micro-loading, being conservative in those PRs, taking them a pound at a time, a rep at a time. All right, being smart. There's a wisdom that needs to come with this. And if you don't learn that along the way, you'll start tearing your body apart. And you know what? You can get brutally strong and maintain it as you get older. You can do that. It can be done safely. It can be done injury-free. but not doing it like this nonsense. I mean, coming in and putting on knee wraps and missing attempts that are 50 pounds heavier than anything you ever picked up in your life. You know, all of his heavy attempts are bad. They're all bad technique. That's why he ripped his pec off the bone and had to have surgery back in December. Let that sink in, guys. Train heavy, train hard, but be smart about it. And when you have a weight on the bar that you can't even get within one dick length of parallel on your way down with knee wraps on, you know you done messed up. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.